My answer for Nimona might surprise some people. Hello, my name's Kayla. This is Cinnamon, Peaches, and Sage, and today I'm going to be looking at the characters in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and ranking them on a tier list. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet had some of the best characters that Pokemon has ever done, so I'm very excited to tell you all my opinions about them. The categories I'm going to use are amazing. These are the top tier characters. Cool are characters that I like a lot, but there are some characters that are just slightly above them. Okay is for characters that I'm like, these are fine, but I'm not like the biggest fan personally. And meh is for characters where I don't really like them for one reason or another, which I will explain in this video. I'm also including a category that says DLC ? This is for characters that I have theories about with the DLC, so I think we haven't fully realized the potential of these characters yet, but we will hopefully in the future. Okay, let's start off with the player characters, which we're going to actually put in okay. In terms of design, I really like that we are able to customize their different features, that we're able to make characters that are slightly more non-binary looking. I'm a girl with short hair. I should be able to do that. My problem with these characters is that we're not able to change their outfits all that much. In other Pokemon games, we've had a lot of customization around their outfits, and I just feel like the creative expression there was kind of lacking. For the mom character, I'm actually gonna put her in the meh tier. Lately, Pokemon has done a better job of characterizing the moms, and I feel like this one didn't really have that much to her. Maybe that's kind of on purpose because a lot of the story was about found family, but it did make the mom character come off as extremely bland. Team Star Grunts, I'm gonna put them in okay. Auto battles, so we don't get to interact with them as much as other grunts. I do like their style though. I feel like they did a good job of using the school uniform. On to the gym leaders. So we have Katie first, and I'm going to put her in the meh tier. I'm a baker, and I have bug type Pokemon. Give us a little bit more than that. I get that some people might have had her as their first gym leader of the game, so she's meant to kind of like ease players into the gym challenge. Because it's open world, I didn't even challenge her first. Gracies, I'm gonna put in okay. I feel like he has too much going on. Unlike some of the other characters, which I'm gonna talk about later, that kind of sync up lots of different aspects of their character into one. We get him randomly like jumping off the windmill. He also has a whip. Why? His saving grace has to do with hassle. That's what makes me like him a little bit more and why he's not in the meh tier. Your eyeballs are mine, caught in my electro web. I don't know, up to the top, amazing. My notes literally just say love in all capital letters. She's both like cute and adorable and like, yay. She has these few moments where she's like, you better subscribe. As somebody who makes YouTube videos, I feel like that's very relatable, where it's like, I am just a generally like bubbly person, but also I really want people to watch my videos, so like that is just a normal thing of being a YouTuber. Kofu is an interesting one, okay tier. Personality wise, I really like him. It's just the design of him that I think is just a little bit off. Larry, we're gonna put Larry in the cool tier. I know some people have Larry as their favorite character, so hopefully those people aren't hating on me right now. If I was in the Pokemon world, like his job would be the job that you would want, and he's just like, nope, this is just what I'm doing for work. Kind of makes you like take a step back and like look at your world from a different perspective. Rhyme, I'm also gonna put in the cool category. Having this girl rapper, love it. She gives me like Missy Elliott vibes. Rapping is really hard. It's a skill, it's an art form, and I love the way that she makes it something that is that to her. Like it's not just like, oh, I'm just gonna do whatever. No, she's getting up on stage and she is putting in the work. I love that about her so much, and I think her design is just great. On to Tulip, who I'm also putting in the cool category. When I first encountered Tulip, I was just like blown away, and I was like, was blushing a little bit. Makeup is cool. It's about how you use that as a form of art and self-expression. Unfortunately, in the gym leader rematches, she says something that I really disagreed with. You have no talent, you might as well just not try. And I was like, whoa, talent is something that you build through hard work. She kind of like discouraged people from doing that, and I was like, Tulip, No. Grusha is an interesting one. I'm gonna put him in the okay tier. Grusha's design and Grusha's personality do not match. I expected Grusha to be a sweet guy, an ice type trainer who's chill. Makes sense. But instead, Grusha was talking about like the harshness of ice. If Grusha was going to be more of this harsh character, he should have at least worn different colors, not pastels. Rika, I'm gonna put in the cool tier. Doesn't say all that much in the game, but you get a very strong sense of her personality. She kind of just commands the room, but in a quiet, like, cool kind of way. The only thing that I feel like is holding Rika back from being in the amazing tier is we don't get to interact with her as much as I would have liked. If Rika had actually replaced Dendra as the battle studies teacher, I felt like then we would have been able to see her more. That would give them like one strong character as opposed to two slightly weaker characters. I love the concept of Poppy. Like, you have this small child who is really ridiculously strong. But the thing with Poppy that's weird is they don't comment about her age. Like, they comment about Nemona being like a really young champion, but wouldn't people know about Poppy and be talking about her? But they just don't mention it, which is really weird. I think I'm gonna put her in okay. I'm gonna put Hassel in the cool tier. I feel like he has a lot going on, but somehow all of the elements that are a part of his story all fit really nicely together. Like, we find out from his storyline that he's kind of the heir of the Draconids. He chose instead to become a teacher, but he has this like family legacy that he's choosing not to be a part of. Instead of choosing to like be who your family wants you to be, to kind of make your own path, it makes it even more important that he is a probably almost definitely gay character, because we have this relationship dynamic between him and Gracies where they have nicknames for each other, and the way they talk to each other and look at each other and smile at each other, it seems very clear that these two are in a relationship. Him just like choosing his own path with that combined is something that, especially for people who are LGBTQ+, it's extremely relatable to have to go against certain things that your parents believe in order to find your own happiness. Plus, I feel like his willingness to cry as a man who is so successful is a really important thing for kids to see. I think that if his design was a little bit stronger, I would probably move him up to the amazing tier. Gita, I'm gonna be filming a whole another video about literally today. I think that we're going to learn a lot more about Gita potentially in the DLC. She doesn't do a whole lot as a champion. She's not a particularly strong champion. If they don't explore her in the DLC, I'd probably put her either okay or meh. As somebody who used to be a teacher, I find Jacques extremely relatable. I'm gonna put him up in the cool tier. Laid back teacher trying to do their very, very best, but struggling with it being new, and also balancing his own life and his own interests, especially since he is like a Pokemon researcher. He does put his students first, even though he's clearly like extremely busy. Dendra is a fantastic design, and overall I really like her character. But again, this is the same thing with Rika, where she's not able to go up to amazing because I feel like she's not doing enough within the story. If they combine those two characters, I feel like they could have had something absolutely amazing, but they didn't do that. At the time of recording this video, Saguaro, I think that's how you say it. His class is the only one that I haven't taken, so it's really hard for me to figure out exactly where I should place him. I'm gonna put him in okay, just because I don't know enough about him to place him higher. Salvatore gives me weird vibes. He talks a lot about feelings. Teachers don't usually talk about that in my experience. Plus, part of his exam involved like a hearing test. For some people who are not able to hear as well, that could be potentially impossible to realistically do, like for people who are deaf. If there is a setting for that, I'm sorry, I probably should have ranked him higher, but as it is, I don't like the lack of inclusion. I'm gonna actually put him in the meh tier, although I do really like the storyline of him caring for that Pokemon that refuses to talk. That was adorable, but the other stuff is just bringing him down too far for me. For Miriam as a character, I feel like I'm missing something, wanting to be a nurse, but we don't know that much about her. Put her in the meh tier, not because I like really hate her, just because I don't feel like she was a character time, I'm gonna actually put in the amazing tier. She just combines the best aspects of teachers into one character. I also like how she chose teaching over being a gym leader, but you can kind of tell that she's using the skills that she knows from being a gym leader to teach her class. The only thing that I kind of wish was included was some interaction with her sister Rhyme, because they're both such strong and amazing characters, so seeing them interact would have been really cool. Greyfort is one of the most mysterious characters in the game. She has close ties with the legendaries, especially the legendary quartet. Her class is one of the most interesting classes in the entire school. However, we don't know a ton about her. I'm kind of thinking that she's gonna play a part in the DLC, which is why I'm putting her in the DLC tier. Her connection with legendaries is going to be important in the DLC in some way. I don't know exactly how, because we don't really know anything about the DLC yet. We're assuming that there even is DLC, so I guess there's that. Probably cool, I think, because the information she gives us is just so interesting. For Giacomo, the Team Star music is composed by him, and it's some of the best music in the game. However, Giacomo's design as well as his personality aren't exactly my personal favorites, where the person like speaks before thinking. I'm gonna put him in the meh tier. Mela, on the other hand, is going straight up to the amazing tier. I love Mela's personality, I love her backstory, I love her character design, I love the relationship that she had with that little shark cadet, I love her can-do-it attitude where she's like, we're just gonna push through and we're gonna figure this out and we're just gonna do our best. She stands up to other people when they get in the way, like, I'm not gonna let you mess with the things that I have worked so hard to accomplish way. There's just so many positive things I have to say about her. Atticus gives me theater vibes because the way he talks, even though I think he's supposed to be a ninja, okay tier, it can be hard to tell exactly what emotions he's trying to express. Ortega and Arie are interesting characters to have back to back because they're kind of opposites for me. Like Ortega, I think his design is actually really, really cool, but his personality is kind of awful. He talks about wanting to use his parents' money in order to solve problems rather than solving them for himself, and he also has some anger issues. Like when he's faced with problems, instead of just going like, oh, okay, I gotta solve this, he just starts yelling. I cannot stand when people raise their voices like that. It makes me feel super uncomfortable, and none of the other characters comment like, dude, you should probably go to therapy. You seem like you have anger issues. No, they're just like, oh, that's the way he is. I'm like, what? Because I value personality more than character design, I'm putting him in the meh tier. Meanwhile, Arie is kind of the opposite. I feel like her character design is kind of off. Face paint, I originally thought it was like a mask and she was almost like a wrestler. Doesn't have eyebrows or something. Are they trying to make her rock and roll? But her personality, in my opinion, is incredibly realistic. They see themselves as the protector of others, and they kind of put themselves in harm's way and sacrifice themselves a little bit in order to help other people. Telling her like, hey girl, like you can take a break. It's gonna be okay. Let others kind of help you. I think that's such an important message, and so because of that, I definitely rate her higher despite her design. I'm gonna put her in the okay tier. Now on to the main cast of these games. Clavel is a character I immediately distrusted. I was really nervous about getting called into his office. He seemed really intimidating, but the more I got to know him as a character, I realized he has a hilarious side, and he honestly wants to make sure that he understands his students so that he's able to help them out. That's really important for kids to see as well. Pokemon does have a large, like, younger audience who are in school and who might experience like school administrators who seem really tough and scary and all those kind of things like Clavel did to me at first. But if you actually get to know the administrator, you might find out, hey, they're actually just trying to help me. I'm actually gonna put him in the amazing tier. Sada and Turo are complicated characters to place because are we placing the android version of them or are we placing the actual person? We didn't really get to meet the person of them, but we also find out information about the person version of them. I guess the androids are kind of slightly the person version of them in a way, so I'm gonna just kind of combine that all into one thing, I guess. Regardless, their characters are super interesting. They've made me do a lot of thinking what elements of our conscious could even be stored as data. Would we want to live on past death? I think I'm gonna put them up in the amazing tier because of the different emotions that they were able to make me feel. Fear and curiosity and surprise and anger, enough depth to those characters that they deserve to be in the amazing tier. My answer for Nemona might surprise some people. Nimona was a character that I initially went into it really liking. Cool and funny, and I was excited for her to be my best friend. I expected, like, as we do for some of the other main characters that I'm going to talk about in a little bit, that we would get more about Nimona. Like, maybe we'd find something out about her parents. But the game doesn't do that. Nimona's whole thing is that she was defeated for the first time, and she appreciated that we did defeat her. But that's kind of it. If I had to place her right now, probably amazing, just because I also like her design. But I'm actually going to put her in DLC. While the other characters have had their arc kind of go full circle, I feel like Nimona's arc has not done that yet. So I think that the DLC could potentially explore some darker parts of her character, especially as it relates to Gita being a role model for her. And I'm gonna talk about that a little bit more in my video about Gita. So again, make sure you're subscribed. Moving on, Penny. I love the way she's addressing bullying. I love women in tech. Like, yes! Also, I think having an online persona that's different potentially from the person that you are in regular life is a big thing right now, and it's gonna continue being a thing going forward because people have access to social media, especially very young people, and they craft an identity online that might not always be quite the same as their regular life identity. Penny choosing to merge her identities as both Cassiopeia and Penny and just be herself, just be Penny, was very important, and I just think that's a message that people need to hear, especially young people nowadays. And Arvin. Is anybody surprised that he belongs in the amazing tier? I mean, I cried so much about this character and his struggles that there is literally nowhere else to put him. He might be one of the best Pokemon characters of all time. When I first met Arvin, I really didn't like him because of the way he was treating Miraidon, and I was just like, dude, what is your problem? Turns out Arvin had a lot of problems, actually. We learned about stuff with his parents. We learned about stuff with his dog that I still cry even when watching back. He grew as a character, and as he grew as a character, he grew on me as well. By the end of the story, I understood where Arvin was coming from. I felt sympathy for him. I was crying. Like, he came so far as a character that just, like, it blows my mind. The things that he addressed in it with, like, having to rely on found family versus the family you're born into, learning to accept what has happened in your past and not necessarily forgive the things that you've gone through, but be able to move on. That is so huge. Unfortunately, I feel like a lot of people in life experience things that are kind of similar to what Arvin experienced. It makes me really sad that a lot of people get stuck kind of the way Arvin is at the beginning of the story. I really hope that this game can kind of serve as a model for people who are struggling in that way to see a path forward. Before we go, I'm just gonna rearrange things a little bit because I want to put them in their overall order, since right now they're just in categories. Now they're also ranked within their categories. So this is my final ranking of the characters in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, at least until DLC comes out. Drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments if you would rank these characters differently. I hope you have a great day or night, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!